Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Freeman Focus, where we slow things down, talk about real stories, real growth, and people that are making a difference right here in central Wisconsin. This season is proudly sponsored by What the Snark, your go to for custom business apparel, gifts, and merch. You can check out their online store at whatthesnark.com or stop by their Wild Rose, Wisconsin office. Today, I'm mixing things up a little bit by bringing on a personal friend and former coworker, which is now a MATCO tool distributor and owner of Burk Tool LLC, Andrew Burk. Andrew Burk has a mobile business. He's serving technicians in shops across Wisconsin and helping keep them stocked with tools and all the things they need to make sure that they get the job done to get your vehicle back on the road. We're going to talk about some things here about stepping forward, taking chances, and building something that serves beautiful lifestyle and purpose. So let's sit back, relax, and let's get into this episode, Stepping Forward with Andrew Burk. Andrew, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Andrew Burk. I'm a MATCO tools distributor. I service the greater Washera County area. Basically, what I do is I go from shop to shop every week, talking to technicians on what tools they can use to further their work with tools they buy off the truck for automotive repair, marina repair, and heavy duty repair.
Pretty awesome. So that makes a difference on people getting the right job done on the vehicles to make sure that it gets done properly the first time. People are commuting to and from work, home, school, church, their daily commute. You help make sure that those vehicles are serviced by the technicians who are getting the proper tooling.
Yeah, there's
It's pretty awesome.
a lot of specific tools you need for specific jobs on vehicles, and tools with a quality and a warranty is really needed out there.
Absolutely. Well, before we dive too much into the tool world and the car world, let's dive into your background a little bit in your career and kind of what helped get you to an automotive technician, and then I guess I'm jumping the gun a little bit. What helped get you into this automotive technician world?
Yeah, so it stems pretty early actually. My grandpa was a mechanic, and I've always been around cars and everything, but got to be a certain age to work on cars professionally. So when I was in high school, I got a job at the local Subway, and shortly after that, they seen something in me, and I was promoted to the assistant manager. Worked there until I graduated high school, and then I moved forward. I was a auto mechanic at Winnegar Auto in Watoma, and worked there for 4.5 years, and then that's kind of stemming from that in the tool world. You got a tool guy. So I had a very good tool guy by the name of Steve Belter. He was in the business for 40 years actually, and there's kind of a stem planted pretty early. It was a seed, and after I started, he knew me prior because he serviced my grandpa, of course, and knew me prior. So on my first couple weeks on the job, he's like, hey, you should be a tool man. You should be a Matco guy. Take over for me. And that stemmed it pretty early, and I thought about it every Friday when I seen that truck roll around. And then finally, we got to talking on a more personal level one day, and he kind of said, "Hey, why don't you come over and let's talk about some stuff?" And that's when he offered me the position to take over for him after 38 years, and I worked as a employee for 2 years under Steve, and then just recently, about 4 months ago, I actually bought out the business, and now I'm the owner of the business.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, I remember, at one point, we had worked together at Winnegar Auto. I remember before my first day, I ended up having a vehicle breakdown on the side of the highway, and I was driving somebody else's vehicle, and they were just like, "Oh, we'll call Winnegar Auto, like, they'll come and get the vehicle." So then I get a hold of one of my buddies that I knew that worked for Winnegar, and, he's just like, "Oh, well, Andrew's on call tonight. You're gonna have to call dispatch, and they'll get Andrew on his way." And it's my buddy our mutual friend Fernando. He's just like, yeah, yeah, make sure you give Andrew some crap when he shows up. Just tell him like, don't worry, man, I got it from here. Like you can go home or
Yeah,
something
that's
ridiculous like that.
yeah. On top of being a mechanic, I run the some of the tow trucks, and I just happened to land on that night, and that really stems our relationship. That was pretty cool.
It's pretty remarkable how like two different paths in life can lead to one moment of time, and then friendship from there. It's pretty awesome, man. I'm very
Yeah,
grateful
some of
that I
the
met you because you helped me out a lot in the automotive side of things, like working on cars. And whenever I ran into some trouble or alignment issues, like you were the guy. So
Yeah, yeah. So
definitely
some of the
appreciate your
some of the
time, man.
best people I know, it's a small world experience. It always comes back, and it's some of those people there. It's great friendships you build over time. it's pretty cool. People are cool.
Yeah, I like to say that, not all heroes wear capes. Like everybody has their own super ability of what they can do, their God gifted talents, if you will. But like the people that are working in automotive or in customer service in general, like you had mentioned over at Subway before automotive world, helping people and just, listening to what it is that they're needing or requiring from your abilities. It's a very rewarding job to have, being a tow truck driver and being the first person on scene to say like, "Hey, it's gonna be okay." The
Yeah,
vehicle, it's
especially
just a vehicle. Like it can be replaced.
running, yeah, exactly as you say, running tow truck, a lot of those people, you see them, on some of their worst days of their life, and you're the first person they see, and if you can just, do something with them, talk with them, talk about, distract them from what just happened, if they hit a deer or, a further accident, if you can just kinda be that person for 'em, it's really cool. I've gotten, when I was a tow truck driver, numerous letters to the shop, just thank yous, and it means something, You're not just a tow
Absolutely.
truck driver.
Yeah, absolutely. I've surprisingly enough, like I don't know how many times I've received like a tip from somebody while I was
Oh,
towing.
yeah.
It's like you just
Yeah.
sustained a car accident, your vehicle is going to require all kinds of work, and here you are giving me money for helping you. Like I feel terrible for accepting this, but they're like,
Yes.
no, you have to accept this. Like
Yep.
you cannot deny that. It's actually very rude to deny that from them. And it's just like the amount of generosity from people who are experiencing hardship, like man, it's a blessing to be the first person there to help them when they're stuck in the ditch, and there's like, "It's cold out." You're the first person that actually stopped to give me a hand. Like, "I'm so happy you showed up here so quickly." Like, I've experienced it as a person, as a tow truck driver, being there on scene, and as a civilian on my way to the job to go towing, someone rolled a Dodge Ram as they tried passing me on like a snowy day. There
Yeah.
was a young man who was probably like 18, just got his license, and his little sister in the car. He was taking her to preschool. Like, I remember opening the door and helping them out, climbing out of the side of it. Like, everyone was okay. They wore their seatbelts. Thank you, Jesus. Like,
Yes.
sometimes,
It's
don't rush things in life, man. Take
right.
it easy.
Like you said, not all heroes wear capes, and, it's doesn't matter what you're doing, if make a difference, that's really what it's about.
Showing compassion, like trying to love people like your brother and sister. That's more Christ-like. That's, I I don't try to promote my religious beliefs onto other people or push them onto other people, but I do feel like I need to advocate certain things. I've been blessed with this platform to be able to communicate how I feel and what I think. And I'm ADHD, so I kind of just the filter just comes off and I just say what I
Yeah.
feel. So I'm not sure about your religious beliefs, but I know that you had recently gotten married, and usually that
Yeah.
happens in a church, right? So why don't you
Uh,
talk about that a little bit? Your new family.
yeah, so I just got married to my wife, my beautiful wife. We've been together for, this December will be 5 years we've been together, and, finally tied the knot and everything, and it was really a beautiful ceremony and everything.
Congrats.
It, my religious beliefs are a little different than yours, but, there's gotta be something out there because it was actually that morning of the wedding, it was probably one of the worst storms we've had all summer here, and, ceremony is set for 1 o'clock, and we get over to the hall and everything where we're gonna get married, and it's an outdoor wedding, and, we're like, "Man, we gotta postpone this thing, what are we gonna do?" And then, at 12:55, the sun lit up, and we had the wedding at 1 o'clock. It was really a beautiful moment.
There's always for the people that are on the fence, there's always some sort of grander power, something that's miraculous that happens beyond our understanding,
Yeah.
I'm blessed to have the understanding that I have. I'm grateful that you've experienced that because I feel like a lot of guys, our age, and I'm quite a few years older than you, but I feel like a lot of guys typically don't hit that level of growth or like that that they realize what part of their purpose here in life is until they have a wife or children.
Yeah.
Because then it's like that incentive every day. Like I got to go out and give it my all. Like
Yeah,
the
finding
grit
your
needs to
purpose.
be as strong now as and thicker than ever. Absolutely finding your purpose.
Yeah.
So kind of let's touch base a little bit back in on the automotive side again as finding your purpose here. So Steve gives you a proposition to get into tool distribution. And what made you take the leap of faith? What made you say like, all right, I'm going to put in my 2 week notice and I'm doing this? Like
Yeah, so
that
I,
pushing forward.
So I'm 24, and what really hit me is when I was about 20, the shop was full, and I had to do a job outside, and I remember getting up off the ground after doing the job. It was somebody coming through town, and they needed their car, and so I got the job done for them, and like I said, I was 20 and I got up off the ground and it hurt to get up. And I'm like, man, I'm 20 years old. I should not be feeling like this. And from there, I was like, I'm not doing this forever. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but it's not gonna be this the rest of my life, and then Steve confronted me about the opportunity, and looking back at his past, knowing that he's been in for a long time. I didn't know at the time, but I knew he was in there for a long time. And he's done well by himself, done well by his family. So I was like, well, there's got to be a future there. And it really it kind of took off from there. And we tried the employee thing to see if I like it. Really it was a trial, which doesn't happen in this line of business. Usually, you got to fully commit and invest a lot of time and funds to get into this. So seeing it as an opportunity and a free trial was really cool. So that's really the main reason. If it didn't work out, I would be able to switch back to what I was doing or what I knew better.
That's awesome. So it's kind of like a blessing in disguise. You were giving a hand and you could reach for it in one instance and like, all right, you get the certainty that you can go in this direction, but at the same time, you still have the door open. You can go back to the automotive world
Right.
and keep servicing vehicles at your typical daily job. So that's awesome, man. It's great to have that opportunity and for someone above you, a leader and an advocate in the automotive industry to give you like that wiggle room of like you don't have to dive straight in. You can
Yeah.
get a nice warm entry, and if you like it, then you know that if you can do it for 1 year, you'll do it for 5, right? You'll know
Yeah.
within that first year if you can do it for more or not.
Yeah. I knew pretty early
And as
on
far as that,
getting in I knew pretty
go
early
ahead.
on getting into the business that it took me probably 6 months, and I said, yeah, I can do this, man. I've always kind of had the motto of, the golden rule: treat people how you want to be treated, and take care of people, make them feel better. And I didn't know it when I started, but MATCO tools, the slogan is service, trust, and results. And what that is you provide a service for somebody, and you build their trust, and you trust them, they trust you. It turns into a really great relationship, which is the results. The whole company's based around that, and it's the whole company's based around what I personally believe in. I found this later on. I didn't know that in the beginning. So, talking to other distributors that I can call really close, friends and family at this point, it's pretty cool that we all have the same mindset with that, and the company itself has the same mindset with that. And you always hear, oh, this company is a family business. We're like family here, and it's one thing I can confidently say. I mean, Monday through Friday, I'm out here by myself doing it, but when I get together with the guys, we really are like a family. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a blessing to have that. And, a lot of people don't really understand like the camaraderie within the automotive industry. Like they think like one mechanic shop like despises the other mechanic shop or like they talk crap about their work or what comes back. And like don't get me wrong, yeah, occasionally there's like the what were they thinking? How'd they let that happen? How'd they let that
Yep.
out the door? Sure, you have that, but otherwise it's a brotherhood, man. It's like we know
Yeah.
what we go through every day. Like you said, here you are, 20 years old, getting off the ground, and you're just like, I'm sore.
Yeah.
I don't think I wanna do this forever, like, you know that you wanna do as much as you can and help as many people as you can, but at what cost? Like, I think statistics show that, like, most technicians, they're requiring, like, shoulder surgeries or hips replacements or, like, knee replacements at, like, 50 years of age, 60 years of
Yeah.
age if they're
Yeah,
lucky.
it's a
That's pretty early on in life if you actually
yeah.
think about it in the adult working aspect of, like, 18 and up, like, man, you're not even 50 and you're already needing replacements, like,
Yeah, it's a
obviously that
very
that industry
physical
is
demanding
very
job.
challenging.
Yeah, and a lot of
100%.
like you said, a lot of shops, outside looking in, you think this shop hates that shop because 'cause they're competition, but it's not like that at all. Being the guy that goes to these shops, one to the next, the amount of phone calls one guy's making to the next shop and say, "Hey, what have you ever had this happen? What do you got going on?" And that helps a little bit being in a smaller area. Everybody kinda treats everybody like family. My job, my career, it doesn't go without competition. I have competition too. There's other tool trucks, man. A lot of people seem to think that me and my competition, we don't like each other either, but it's not like that at all. I can call either any one of those guys at any point, and we can talk about shop with each other. It's really cool. We look out for each other. We talk about stuff, and it's pretty cool knowing like yeah, we're competition, but we still got each other's back in the long run. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, interesting enough, when I was an automotive technician, I only spent money with Matco, and the Snap-on guys would come around, and they would pitch some of their sales to me and what they got going on. But I actually only made purchases through Steve, so I can say that I'm pro Matco. Not that I'm anti
Yeah.
Snap-on, but the price tag scares a Mexican guy like me away. I'll go to Crabsman before I go
Yeah.
to Snap-on, bro. But I own some Matco things. A couple things I still have are some torque sets. I have a lockout kit, which is handy anytime you lock your keys in a vehicle, and a couple other things that I got from Matco. I had that toolbox. I ended up reselling that when I had left the automotive industry. But yeah, I mean, like, you guys have great quality products, so like it's awesome that you're able to take pride in your work. It's a brotherly thing that your team, the additional aspects of your team, the guys that are in their own trucks, or a part of the distribution chain that you work with. It's pretty cool that you guys have that brotherly conversation and stuff when you guys are able to get together. I think that's important.
Yeah, I
Um,
I personally like competition. Competition's cool. If it wasn't for competition, a lot of stuff wouldn't get done. So it's if I could pick my competition, I'd pick the same guys I got going on with me. Because they're good at their jobs, and it makes me work a little harder. Gives me something to look at. I want to be as good as him, or I want to be better than him. Is really the key. Is what I do.
Right, knowing where to set the bar at. Like, all right, well, this, as far as customer service goes, that you can probably outperform a lot of people in that department. So it's a matter of just knowing what tools are required for the jobs, which your automotive experience should definitely help lead you in that direction as well. So then it's just a matter of price comparison and quality, right? So that's something you get to stand behind too, right? So you have your Facebook page, which is the Andrew Burk's Tool Land,
Yep.
right? So since you're a Matco distributor, you created a tool distribution page. Let's talk a little bit about that. Like, I see that you're growing your followers. You're at like 250 or 400, or I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
exactly the numbers, but
I
you're
think I
growing. You're
think
getting up
we're
there.
I don't know the exact number either right now, but we're definitely growing, considering it's only been out for probably about 3 months now. It's growing. It's a different
Yeah.
way of engaging. Prior, Steve never did anything like that. Steve's an older cat, he never really did the social media stuff, the media stuff. He never did that. So I seen it as an opportunity to engage with my audience that way. So it's make it easier for people to get a hold of me, really, instead of I post my deals on there, I post what's going on. Most importantly, I like to post when guys make a large purchase from me, whether it's a toolbox or quite a few tools at a time. I like to give them the spotlight because really, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm nothing without my guys. They're the reason I'm able to do this, really. They're the reason I'm able to go camping with my family and do stuff with my family. If it wasn't for them, I really wouldn't be here. It's really cool.
It's awesome. Good shout out to the customers. That's going to be a great soundbite right there. I get like, since I'm the one that creates the podcast, I can make shorts from these. So like, I usually choose like a minute of conversation to grab like what I feel is very positive, very uplifting, but really captures the audience's attention for what we're conversing about. And the fact that we're talking about cars, we're talking about people, we're talking about competition, we're talking about taking a leap of faith and changing a little bit different direction in your comfort zone as far as how you support your family, your well-being. So yeah, these are a lot of really great things to, we're 20 minutes into this and we've already touched base on like a handful of important things about the automotive world and growth, self-growth as a person. So I'm really proud of you, man. You're making a lot
Thank you.
of strides forward in your life. You got um, a, a newborn, you have a wife now. You're growing in the ways that men are supposed to grow. From a biblical standpoint, you're spot on with where you're meant to be at. You will figure out the rest in due time.
Yeah,
Jesus will
that's
come to you at some point. He might come to your wife or your child, but somewhere or another, he'll find his way into your heart. That's just a matter of time, man. You're very blessed already, and I can tell that. And I've known that since I've met you, man. You've had a really great head on your shoulders. A lot of guys your age from where you come from can't say the same,
yeah.
so very proud of you in that regard.
Thank
Let's
you.
see what else we got here. Healthy choices, daily habits. What do you have as far as keeping a healthy mindset through some of this? Some days get hectic. You got multiple stops. You know, some parts, break. You don't have a replacement on the truck. Like things coming at you. How do you handle all of that? What's your secret sauce?
Kinda what you just said, I figure it out. So that's the best thing to do with it. Keep showing up is kind of what I do. Do my best to try to treat everybody the same, treat everybody with respect, stuff like that. Just kinda keep moving forward with it, and stuff does happen, but I just take it one piece at a time. Take it with what you got, not everything's perfect and everything will never be perfect. Just try to do what you can, try to make people happy. Sometimes you don't have replacements on the truck, but, if you can get the tools here faster so you can get it to these guys, you stop at them. Some of my shops are every other week shops, so if, instead 2 weeks isn't that's not gonna cut it. He needs his tool back less than 2 weeks. So as soon as I get it in, I've taken stuff there to guys' houses, let them come to my house. Here you go. Here's what you need in a week earlier than it was supposed to be, or a week and a half earlier than it was supposed to be. You gotta really do what you can, and it kind of protects your image a little bit, and kind of knows. I want people to know that I care. Going back to it, I'm nothing without them. So I want to make sure that they're taken care of in the best way I can because there is competition out there. So I gotta try to set my bar a little higher and try to move forward with that.
Yeah, definitely. That's very important. As far as business goes, you're a pretty busy guy, but are you able to take on more clients? So if a new automotive shop opens up in the area, or if there's other people in other industries that do order tools and stuff, are you able to take on new clients? So if I were to give you a referral or
Yeah,
show your business
absolutely.
card to some friends.
Every day is different. So I run on the truck Monday through Friday. Every day is different. Some days got more stops, some days got less. In a perfect world, I can always take on as many customers as I can. But unfortunately, there's only so many hours in the day. Unfortunately, I do have a couple days that I don't get to every stop on time every week just because there's so much going on. And it's very easy to fall behind. Whether I make a big deal or, whatever it is, or maybe something a guy's got something going on he needs a little bit of help with. And that slows you down, but that, it's part of it. Luckily it's not like that every week. So sometimes I'm early, sometimes I'm late, most of the time I'm right on time. And but yeah, depending on the day, most of the time I can get to a new shop. Otherwise, we can always make arrangements, meet with me on over lunch break, figure it out, and kind of go from there.
Awesome. Great feedback. Yeah, I figured that a lot of times small business owners and entrepreneurs don't like the spotlight. They don't want to like self promote. So like I know that you said you got the page and you'll post some deals on there. A lot of times owners like if you're a really great mechanic or you're a really great barber or you're a really great, hairstylist, like you have like a special niche somewhere, but you might not be so great at social media or marketing or advocating your own services online. So that's kind of where this podcast kind of comes into play, where I can kind of shine the spotlight on you a little bit. You're not really sure on how to do it to yourself to a certain degree, where I have a little bit more experience. I also have experience in customer service, so that helps. But I talk a lot. I got ADHD. God gave me the gift of conversing, so I want to use it to some good and just have some great conversations. We talked about other mutual friends that we could probably bring on the show that would be a great person to converse with. And Randy's one of them. I think Randy's a great
Yeah.
guy all around. And I'd imagine that would be one handful of an episode.
Yeah, you would definitely need some censorship, but I think he would be a good, candidate for sure.
I, you know, it's remarkable how like you get like these jitters about jumping on a podcast and like conversating like this because it's like you just don't know what to expect. But it's so casual. Like it
Yeah.
almost like feels like it's not even work at all. As far as I mean, we're doing good on time. We're at about 25 minutes. Are there any other key aspects that you'd like to bring up or advocate, about your business or your future plans? Any expansion ideas or, I mean, what's the future look like for Andrew Burke's tooling?
Expansion at this moment, not thinking about it right now. And there's always expansion, right? So there with Matco tools, there's a opportunity to buy more trucks, hire employees, and essentially be the boss. As of right now, that sounds like a lot. I already got to take care of myself and my family, and I got roughly 400 customers that I see throughout a 2-week
Wow,
basis. So it's a lot of people, multiply
that's
that by
impressive. That's a
3,
lot.
have 3 trucks on the road and, 3 total, that's 1,200 people. That's a lot going on. So at this very moment, things are going good. Like I said, I'm just starting out, just getting started. So as of right now, expansion isn't really the key. I got a lot of stuff to work on myself to make my own business the best it can be. And then maybe in the future we'll discuss maybe adding another truck, and um I mean my son's 16 months old, so maybe in 18 years I can sign him up. I'll be young enough to keep running the truck, and maybe it'll be a family business. You never know. You never know what the future holds. Looking back
Awesome.
10 years, I would have had if you told me I was doing this 10 years ago, I wouldn't believe you. This is really a dream come true. I love what I do. I love the guys I deal with. Talking with guys on the route, to key into your question before about how do I deal when it gets tough. Talking to the guys, at the end of the day, there's a lot of behind the scenes paperwork that goes on, but I get to drive around and talk to friends. When I first started, how am I going to do this? And um, I had a district manager at the time. He said, just go out there and make some friends. So, all right, man, whatever. So I got out there and I feel like I've made some friends. A lot of these people, I hang out with a few of them outside of work. And it's really cool to know them on more on a personal level. Guys come to me with some pretty personal info, that they tell me that they trust me to tell me this info. And it's kind of cool to, that's really the biggest part of how I get, cause every job, stuff gets tough, and it's nice to have guys, they just talk to you, hey, how's your kid, good, how's your kid, it's cool, we check in on each other. It's really cool. It's my route's it's a big family. It's a 400 people family. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome, man. That's very impressive. As far as any one specific message that you would like for someone to get a takeaway from our conversation today, what do you think that would be?
Anything's possible, man. Don't doubt yourself. I don't want to sound like, preachy or nothing, but anything really is possible. You set your mind to it, you can do it. There's no limitations. We have, as human beings, we have this crazy thing called free will. You can use it in the wrong way and, end yourself up and put yourself in a bad situation. Or, you can really use it to change the world and, and change your life, change your family's life, change your neighborhood. It's really cool. Free will's a crazy thing.
Yeah, it's definitely beautiful when you're in control of it. You know how to harness it. You if you know how big of an impact you can make, if you put the right amount of energy and effort into that, that impact can go beyond what you thought. Like you said, 10 years ago, someone would have told you that you would have been, a MATCO tool distributor running your own truck. You would have been like, that's crazy talk. Like you're insane. Get away from me. But
Right.
yet here you are doing it almost effortlessly, confidently, and
Yeah.
uh and it took you quite a bit to get here. We're promised certain things in life, um, and it's like a silent promise. Like we don't know that we're going to get it. If we knew what it would take to get to where we're meant to be, we would give up because it's just too much to fathom. So
Yeah. Work
great,
ethic
great,
is a
great word.
definitely work ethic's a important thing too, and moving forward with doing what you want, doing what you can. You can do anything. You gotta have the work ethic to follow it. I had some good role models in my life. My parents, they're always working extra shifts and everything, and they work quite a bit. And then I at late teens, early 20s, I had a very good role model, Brandon Miller, a really good dude. He taught me a lot about just being a man, doing what you got to do. If it's time to clock out, but the job's not done, well, then you ain't clocking out. You got to finish the job. Because somebody in the mechanic world, somebody needs that car. In the tool world, somebody needs
100%.
that tool. If you park the truck, you jump in your personal vehicle, you got to deliver that tool. That's something you just got to do. You got to take care of people.
Yeah, make an impact however you can in any way you can. So yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up for today, man. We were at 30 minutes here. I figured that was kind of our mark that we try to shoot for, keep it short and sweet so I can get it uploaded tonight and let you proof it. But yeah, man, I really appreciate you joining the show tonight and expressing some of what it takes to push forward, in life and making choices and making wise decisions for you, for your friends, for your family, and in this case for clients. they become friends through that. So
Yeah.
very, very great and very blessed with the opportunities that you have, Andrew. And I'm glad to see that you're making the most of them while you do that. So again, I want to thank you for joining the show tonight. And as for everyone else, stay tuned for next week. We got a great guest. We got Ed Klinger coming on the show, the Moose Inn owner and Caribbees owner. So that's going to be a really great one. Stay tuned for that. Some cool things happening there. Andrew, you have a blessed rest of your night, man. Enjoy the weekend. It's finally here.
Thanks, man.